So this morning, I feel like I want to talk. I woke up and said, I had, it's kind of an analogy, but it really is kind of the truth too. And it hit me. The game of Monopoly, the board game. I want you to think about life on planet Earth, going back forever, has basically been a game of Monopoly. In the club, the elite, well, they kind of own the game. They made the game. They are the game. You and I and everybody else, we're just players on the game, and we don't even realize we're even playing a game of Monopoly, and that every now and then the game has to be reset to make it fair for other players, right? New players coming in, we have to make it fair. We can't just own everything, including the citizens owning stuff on that game, so to speak, of real life Monopoly. We got to reset it to give other people the opportunity, or else the same people own the same stuff forever. That's not going to work. That always leads to major chaos in the country. So how do you deal with that? They make these artificial market crashes. And not just market crashes, economic crashes. And every great once in a while, they have to be massively heavy duty to really clean everybody out, start the game over again. So if you look at the game itself, the board game, Monopoly, you're right, you got a few people. We're all going to roll the dice. In other words, that's the free market, that's the luck, that's the chance in life, that's just the, whatever it is, it is. I got lucky, I got this opportunity, I made a business, I'm successful. Or the person, I rolled the dice and I never landed on any damn thing, I suck, my life sucks, and I lost, I was the first one out of the game of Monopoly. But that's just pretend, so it's okay, you're not really upset, right? Because as soon as this game's over in the next 20 minutes or 30 minutes, however long it ends up being, we're going to start again. And again, this is about game of chance and, probability and whatnot, and everybody's fair. So everything for us all is fair, including the game itself. It's all by chance. So I'll have another opportunity at this game. Maybe I'll win next time. And if I don't win, at least hopefully I don't come in, dead last place like I just did. Maybe I'll come in second place. That's not too bad. Right? Just entertainment. It's fun. But if you put that into real life and look at everything nowadays, there are people who own strip malls, people who own businesses, companies, their own business, right? This is basically a really intense game of Monopoly. And as long as everything's going smooth, which it always does for a while, while the game's going on, right? Everything's going smooth, there's still property to be had. What happens once all the property's taken? If in the fake game of Monopoly, the board game, new players could just come and go, that would be okay, as long as it was happening during and only during the time when all the properties hadn't been accounted for. Because if everybody's, the original players own everything, and the new players are coming in, there's nothing for them to own. So it's not going to work. So the game has to be reset. We got to reset the game. Got some new players. So in real life, I'm here to tell you, the club, the elite, the game master of Monopoly, real world Monopoly, in this little analogy, I truly believe, just like we've all heard, the end of this year, it's supposed to happen, economic collapse, it's going to be derivatives, worldwide, blah, 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 whatever. And again, it may be the start of it. It may trickle into 2016 and then get worse and worse and worse. We do not know how they're going to do it and how long it's going to last. We just know they're going to, and it's going to start later this year. So just bear with me on all that. Let's assume we are all on the same page, and by chance we all had a crystal ball, looked into the future. Sure enough, bingo, crash is coming. It'll be the one that takes out the world economy, and we know this now, okay? The game of Monopoly, so I'm not necessarily talking about the elite's game of Monopoly, like they're going to get hurt. No. You see, because the elite, in this real world game of Monopoly, they own Park Place and Boardwalk. And then the 3 green ones next to it on that, you know, let's see, depending on how you're looking at the board, you know, the one right before you get to go, you know, that's the most expensive property. That's the one that makes the most money. And if you own that whole side, oh, God help anybody who lands on anything on that side of the board, especially if you have a house, some houses or hotels. They are done. Game over. So the elite, where I'm going with this analogy, is they're going to reset the game purposefully, on purpose, because things have to be reset. I almost wonder, you know how they have like this code of ethics, so to speak, which the word ethic doesn't sound right to me, but they've got this code, right, where they gotta tell the sheeple what they're gonna do to them in advance of them doing it, whether they put it in a movie or they just flat out say it. You know, Christine Lagarde in her financial meeting to the world on the IMF, the cycles of 7, basically telling everybody this cycle of 7 that is, again, later this year, is the real deal. That's when it's all gonna go down. But if you're the game master, that means you know exactly when, because you're doing it, the game's gonna end and start new. So I almost wonder if it's in that same code of ethics that they have for themselves, that they also have to reset everything for everybody to start new. Which doesn't include them, because they're going to have their wealth and their power and everything that they've had no matter what. You and I will lose everything in our retirement, whatever, when this goes down. They, on the other hand, will not. And again, if Lindsey Williams was told by them that the only money that they're concerned with, that they consider theirs, is gold and silver, then that doesn't mean anything. That your retirement is in money, is in paper assets that then equals money. So if this thing starts later this year, maybe it goes on for 2-3 years, who knows? Their money's going to be safe. Trust me. It has been for centuries, eons, and it will be going forward. Again, if you're the one doing these things, you're not going to be caught off guard. Oh, I forgot I was doing this and my money got caught up in the bad side of things. Are you kidding me? Get real. So they're going to reset the worldwide Monopoly game, which means for everybody out there, whether you're a business owner or you own a little commercial property and you got a little, you know, so whether you got some duplexes, whether you've got a little strip mall you own or whatever, right? That's the property in Monopoly. Due to what they're going to do, there's going to be a mass shuffling up again, starting over of this game. Sure, some people aren't going to be affected. That's impossible for every single person to be affected. But a lot of people are, and enough people will be, so that all of their assets that they thought were safe and secure and everything was good, then go up in smoke and are resold back to the other sheeple who may not have been affected by this. So in other words, you guys have been playing the board game Monopoly. You're right in the middle of it. A lot of properties starting to get bought up. There's very few properties left. Matter of fact, maybe they are all bought up. And then all of a sudden, just pure coincidence, you know, luck of the draw, the game is flipped upside down and everything starts over. Some of those pieces are still yours. A lot of them are wide open and empty and ready for someone else. So I almost wonder, is it their code of ethics between themselves, the club? As Gerald Carlson said, it's a big freaking club and you ain't in it. So anyways, if they're going to reset the game, this is going to be the big reset. This isn't a little reset, little recession, another banker bailout. This is going to be the big reset. Everything's going to be shuffled up, starting new. So if you have that information that that's going to take place, you have a crystal ball, or just simply massively informed, and you are expecting this to take place in the very near future, you have 9/10 of the problem solved. How do I deal with this when it comes? Or when it gets here, I was expecting it. That helps too. Me, my personal thing, gold and silver. My answer to all this financial stuff is just gold and silver. It's the only thing that's not this paper, inflated, made-up garbage. It's real. It comes from the earth. It has been considered money. It has been the absolute definition of money. Not for a few hundred years or this is some new phenomenon. These things have been money for thousands of years. Thousands. And if the club resets everything and then says, oh, well, we want all countries, including the United States, to join the new world currency we have set up from the IMF called the SDR, which has been there, but now we want to use it worldwide, which is the standard drawing rights is what they called that. The new SDR currency is what we want everybody to use. Oh, and by the way, it's the same thing as you've always been using this, you all have used this whole time. Fiat currency printed out of nothing, thin air, backed by nothing. How does that sound? What the hell just happened? The whole world's economy just collapsed. What the hell are you talking about? Let's try that again, except do it in a one world system? Are you out of your mind? No, can't do that. Okay. Oh, got it. How about this? SDR, one world currency, backed by precious metals. None of y'all's currencies for so long have been backed by precious metals. And then all of a sudden you're going to hear all these hawks that have told you badmouth gold and silver come out. It'll be like a whole new person. Hey, wasn't that one guy who was saying that gold's not money? And now he's saying it's been financially stable all for, thousands of years of history have shown stability when attached to gold and silver currencies. And they're going to change their tune right on cue because the elite told them to. Not because they had a change of mind or I didn't know that. How did you not know something that's been in existence for thousands of years? Gold and silver is money. Constitution of the United States of America. 10th Amendment. Nothing but gold and silver coin can be used for any debts, public and private. Nothing but gold and silver. Still on the books, hasn't been repealed, hasn't been changed. Yet, we have these dollars that are backed by nothing. And as I mentioned the other day, I think the year was 1918, which is a few years after the Federal Reserve was created, right? Which was, its job was to print paper money. That people didn't trust the paper money, had to deal with it anyways. As you saw, they had a crash in 1917 or 18 or 19, somewhere around there. Which was followed by, of course, right around there too, World War I. We have the 1929 stock market crash, which leads to the early and mid-1930s being devastating. Right after that, we have World War II. We're about to have another massive crash here in the near future. Do you think by chance, coincidence, I'm sure, pure luck coincidence, there'll be an enemy? We got to go attack them. ISIS, ISIL, whoever, nonsense, bozo. And World War III starts because of it. Again, if history repeats and one is to look at and try to figure out what the future is, all one has to do is look at the past. What does the past show when X, Y, and Z things have happened? Oh, well, they lead to this and this. Oh, so we're going to have another crash, and it's going to more than likely lead to another war. Which also means, how can there always be a war, a bad guy on standby, just perfectly timed when it's needed the most? That means it can't be perfectly timed, and that all of this is nonsense, and that all wars are created by the club. And their news media hawks will put anything in front of you showing women being slaughtered, child being slaughtered by some masked man in a radical Muslim group called ISIS that they just made up out of thin air. And just keep showing that to you on TV and newspapers, and just keep that going, a steady stream of it, so that you know well who ISIS and ISIL are and all this crap, so that when the big event happens and there's a big terrorist attack, you're not going to question even for a second, oh my God, it was those ISIL. I just read yesterday, just south of the Texas border. I wish I had some little scary music to cue at this moment. Just south of the Texas border in the United States of America, according to Mexican officials, ISIL and ISIS camps have been found a mere 8 miles to the south of the border of the state of Texas. That's supposedly news as of yesterday. And do you think for 1 second the United States, with its law enforcement and military, whatever, Department of Homeland Security, Border Patrol, military, Army, whatever, wouldn't already have the permission from Mexico, whether we asked or not? Since when the hell do we ask for permission to go into another country? We've been in Afghanistan, Pakistan, Iraq, Yemen, Syria, of course, now, Gaddafi, Libya. When in the hell do we ask for permission to go after the terrorists? We got it. We know he's here. We're coming in, even though he's not there. So we have them south of the border, 8 miles. You could drive one of our own cars over there. We don't even have to go get in big old, these big jets and military personnel carriers and not fly across the road. Just 8 miles. Get on some four-wheelers. Go on those little doom buggy things with the 50 caliber machine gun on front. Go over there. They're having a camp out. They're having a cookout 8 miles south of the damn border. Why aren't they being caught? Why aren't they detained? What's happening? It's not true, and it's just news for you. And don't think for a second, if they can pull off Sandy Hook, Boston Marathon, 9/11, do you think, and the fake beheadings that are absolutely phenomenally nonsense, do you think for 1 second that they couldn't fake put some Middle Eastern looking special agents in garb south of the border of us and then detain them for live TV, and we caught them, and look, they're here. That just means there's more of them. Oh my gosh, but this is only one group. We interrogated them, and they said there's a lot more than we imagined. This is only one that we found. And who are you to question it and even wonder, is that truthful or not? The average American is going to say, this is my country. I trust my country. I trust these people. They wouldn't. Okay, wait a minute. Maybe I don't trust them as much as I used to. Matter of fact, I don't trust them hardly at all. But they wouldn't do that. I mean, come on. No, they wouldn't do that. So I'm good. I believe you, and I'm okay. And they're going to say, good. Because when we pull off the next 9/11, we're going to blame it on these people, and you're going to believe it. And then we're going to have to go to a big war to find all of them, which is the Middle East blows up. And is Russia, China, and some of them going to just stand there while we flex our massive muscle, what's left of it, one last time? The Roman Empire, all these empires, they always seem to kind of go out with the, a peak, bang, a big, top of their game, and then again, towards the end of the Roman Empire, couldn't afford to do stuff. Let's just go to war and take over areas. And as we take over those areas, we'll get their spoils of war. That'll help our deficit and our problems. Pension, they had pension problems too. And that didn't work. The bills kept mounting, so to speak. Well, let's invade more and more frequently. That didn't work either. Let's devalue the currency because we were using gold and silver, so let's mix nickel and copper and some other things into these coins and then clip them. We're going to clip coin clipping. We're going to clip the coins so that the little scraps we can remelt. And the coins will be a little bit smaller than normal, but they still have the same value, everybody, even though they didn't. Things got more expensive. That didn't work. So it's just, and then at some point in time, all of this warmongering that was going on by the Roman Empire, the rest of the nations, as we were told on History Channel TV, the barbarians got tired of it. The barbarians got tired of it. Oh, wait a minute. Is that America, early times, Indians, savages? Savages. Damn savages. Wait a minute. You came to their land. They were here first. Savages. Who? Hold on. Savage Indian or Savage the white man from England? I'm confused on that. Sorry about that. Barbarians had enough, and other tribal areas or whatever areas, some were tribal, had enough of the Roman Empire's crap. And enough was enough. And the Roman Empire could not withstand the onslaught from all areas and therefore collapsed. I'm just going to remind you of a long time ago WebBot thing, report, years and years and years ago. And you got to understand something. The WebBot was the first thing I ever heard the words, death of the dollar, come to play. You can go out there right now on the internet and type the words, death of the dollar. And you will find so many articles, and I'm talking even mainstream to alternative to people on their blog, you name it, and there will be millions of results for the term death of the dollar. When several years back, that term wasn't really used. And the WebBot, way back when, said that was going to be a meme coming in that's just going to get stronger and stronger and stronger because it's going to get stronger because it's going to happen. So, regarding that little section or that meme of the WebBot, there was a section in there that talked about when this gets in full effect, and it really has some bad effects on Americans, regardless of what part of the world you're in. One of the things I found very intriguing and interesting that I'm waiting to see if and when it happens, was that it gave a scenario. And it doesn't mean that these scenarios are perfect. It's just Cliff High's interpretation and saying, well, here's what I think this could mean, and here's like an example. Picture our troops, even Americans, overseas anywhere, out of the country, and something happens where most of the world says, as of today, we no longer are friends with America or whatever, or just simply, we don't want to use your dollar anymore. You've caused too much trouble with this thing. We're done. We will not take U.S. dollars anymore. Effective like right now. And there are people and troops even at the airports trying to get back on their planes to come home. They have money. They won't take the dollar. I'd like to exchange it. No, I don't think you understand. We won't take the dollar. I want to convert it. We don't take U.S. dollars anymore for anything, for any reason. Find a way to get some money in our currency or any of these other currencies we still use. So they're going to have to try to find one and exchange that dollar, the U.S. dollars, for whatever other country's currency to try to make that happen. And most of the time they're going to be shot down, so to speak. No, we don't want anything to do with that dollar, so you're stuck. And they're going to hear about people being stuck, according to the WebBot, when this happens, at airports and places because they can't get home because they don't have money that the country they're at was willing to accept. This is one of those long ago memes, years and years and years and years and years ago. And yet, the death of the dollar is still present in the recent WebBot stuff, the IDR reports, etc. It's been present for years. And it is blatantly obvious now. This is what's happening. Oh, that's right. We have a new IMF system that the Chinese are kind of putting together with the Russians, the BRICS nations. Every meeting that I see these people, they're all smiling, shaking hands. I see freaking Angela Merkel from Germany, our ally, smiling, shaking hands with the BRICS nations. And I'm looking at all these people in this photograph. I can recognize most of them, heads of state in other countries. And I don't see a single American person representing us. You don't think we're the New Age Roman Empire, do you? And the other countries have, quote-unquote, had enough, and rather than fight us, they're just making us irrelevant. We'll just come up with another system. We don't want your stinking SWIFT banking system. Get that crap out of here. We don't want your markets. China, which they already have, you're going to open up gold and silver markets. You're going to start dealing with that stuff. They're just doing it. They're not like coming out and making a big announcement. We're going to screw America. No. We're just going to put these things up and see where the market around the world flows to. And I got news for you. It's not going to be America's market. America is not going to be setting the prices of everything like they've been doing for God knows how long now through the COMEX market in Wall Street. That era will be coming to an end. How soon? Again, anyone's guess, but I think it's going to be tied to this economic collapse when it happens. Because again, derivatives, where did those things come from? Oh, that's a financial product that was created in America by the too big to fail banks. Oh. So those things caused the worldwide economy to crash, and now we're dealing with a lot of unrest at home over here in our country, some other country, thanks to America and these weapons of financial mass destruction known as derivatives. How friendly do you think the world's going to be to us? How happy do you think they're going to be with us? We already know this, which is why you're hearing the warmongering gearing up. When they've failed with everything else, there's nothing else left for them to do. Gerald Celente extraordinaire said, they take you to war. They take you to war. And is there or is there not an enemy that's been put in your face recently? I keep saying 1,000 times, ISIS, ISIL. ISIS, ISIL. Is it ISIS or is it ISIL? What is it? What happened to the Taliban? What happened to Al-Qaeda? Did they just stop? I haven't heard news on these groups in forever. All I hear about now is ISIL and ISIS. Where the hell did Taliban and Al-Qaeda go? They retired early? Come on, wake up.